Hi, welcome to RCKicks. On today's show, well, we're bringing you something that's very new indeed. So new that it hasn't actually been released yet, but it's due any day soon. What is that? That is the new Cobra Evolution from Mardave. Now, if you don't know who Mardave are, they're a UK-based RC company, and they've been around a long time. They first brought out a car in 1971 to 1972, and they are the first company to produce an RC car in Europe. That's how long they've been around. Also, they're acclaimed for being the first people to build a permanent RC track in the UK in Leicester. So yes, they've been around a long time. This is not the first Cobra that they've produced. The Cobra has actually been out for quite a long time. Now, there's a lot of die-hard Mardave fans, but really this video is more addressed to the people that have never heard of Mardave, and to show you and talk about a new manufacturer on the show. So let's talk about the Cobra. Well, the original Cobra was released in 1992. There was two variants of this with two chassis colors, a blue and a yellow. Now, the first one was a Cobra TQ and the Cobra Sport. The main difference being that the Cobra TQ was a full race version with fully ball raced, adjustable suspension, top links and a slipper clutch. And that chassis was blue. The sports version was cheaper with plastic bushes, non-adjustable links and a yellow chassis, but it did come fitted with a manual speed controller, motor and pinion, and was pretty much out of the box. So they're the two first Cobras that Mardave made. The Cobra was also re-released by Mardave in 2007, and further development to the Buggy meant it was continued until 2009. Now, after 2009, we now skip forward to today, and then we have this. This is the Cobra Evolution. So what's the difference? What have they done in that time frame to then bring us this? Well, I have a list of what's been done to this chassis. It has a full bull diff with new thrust race and diff plates, carbon shock towers front and rear, new alloy big bore adjustable set shocks and springs. You also get two sets of springs. Well, I did in this kit. Now, one of the things I need to talk about is this is a pre-release kit, so some things may change. So don't take it as total gospel. Best to check with Mardave to be really sure. Also, what you see on the car may change as well. I'll talk about some that I know about, but this is a constant evolution, hence the name. What else have we got? Lexan shell and wing set, that's new. Adjustable wing mount set, turnbuckle set and servo saver. New front geometry link set, hex drive rear axle spacers. You will need, for this kit, you will need a radio, battery, charger, ESC, motor, servos, wheels and tyres. Now, I have a set of wheels and tyres from Mardave that are on this, so if you want the same, you can pick them up from their website. Right, let's have a look, shall we? Right, let's open the box up and take a look. Now, I won't need to build this because Mardave build the chassis for you. So that's going to save me a lot of time, but I still have to paint up, cut out the body and spray it all up. And fit all the electronics. Right, let's open the box up and take a look at the actual car. And here it is, the very early version 001. Big thanks to Mardave for sending this to RCKicks so that I can bring it to show you. Now, what do I think? Well, it's very light, and I'm hoping it's going to be really nimble. But I've got to put electronics in it first. Now, it comes all built for you, so you don't have to do anything at all apart from put the body post and put the wheels and tyres that you have chosen, as well as throw in your electronics. You don't have to build gearboxes, shocks or anything. And I must say, I'm very impressed with the shocks. They are lovely and soft, fully adjustable big bore metal shocks. Loving that. Nice to see some carbon on the front and rear towers. That's for sure. Now, its main competitor. I'm going to say, and also after talking to a few of you guys, that I think really it's squaring off with something like the Schumacher Top Cat. Two-wheel drive, basically same wheelbase, almost in the same price bracket. Now that means that the Cobra has a lot to contend with, because we know that the Top Cat is insanely good as a buggy, and I love driving this car. So I'm going to put exactly the same electronics in the Cobra, and we're going to put it around the BGRAT track, and then I'm going to compare it to the Top Cat, and we're going to see whether it can actually beat the Top Cat time. Now obviously we're running slightly different tires, but last time I was running this sort of tire on the track, it was very, very grippy, so I don't really see it being too much of a problem. Now I need to take the motor out of the Top Cat and fit it into here, and I also have extra electronics that are exactly the same, so I can fit those as well. So that's what we're going to do next. Also, the body is a completely different design from the Cobra Sport that you see on the box here. It's a very modern design. Also, it allows, because the front upright is now a piece of carbon that has a top mount on it, you have to poke the body through this section and use that as a mounting point, which this body design will go with. I haven't decided what color yet. I may even do it the blue, but I'm not sure if I've got any blue left, but we'll pick a color. You also get a wing. You get some window masks. You also get some decals. Now these may change, I honestly don't know. One thing that I found out is that originally the chassis was going to be powder coated, or was going to be painted in some form or another, but due to the COVID they can't actually get that done in time for the release, and the release has taken them a while, so that's why it's in this metal. Right, that's enough waffling. Let's cut the body out, throw in the electronics, and then hopefully we can get it running so we can put it around the track. Right, I fitted all the electronics and the car is alive. So it has exactly the same electronics as the Top Cat. Same pinion, same motor, the exact same motor where I moved it over. Same electronic speed controller and same transmitter receiver. The only difference is the steering servo, because I can't be bothered to take out the half-height steering servo in that car, in the Top Cat car, to put in this one. I've just put another steering servo in this one. Now, the Top Cat steering servo is slightly better, as in speed, but it's not as strong. But I don't think steering is a great deal of an issue for each car. The steering seems really good on both, so I don't think that's going to affect it. Right, what's next? Now we've got to cut the body out, and then I've got to pick a colour that I'm not sure what colour to do, whether to paint the body and leave it see-through for the wing or not. I honestly don't know. I've got a few Mardave stickers, so maybe I'll see if I can match a colour that will suit that better. Right, so let's cut the body out and get it all lined up and fitted. Okay, so we're getting closer all the time. I've cut the body out, I've sanded it and fitted the window masks. Now this body is a pre-production body, so it didn't have the exact lines that I'm supposed to cut. So I've made a few little mistakes or guesses. Later on, the actual release body will be more obvious. Now that's especially around the steering aspect, where it's a very high cut here, but really it will come down lower. It doesn't look that bad, to be fair, and I'm quite happy with it. The only other thing that I wasn't too sure about was I lined the body up with the actual chassis, and it brought the tail down quite low, so it sticks up where the gear comes through. So I've just cut a slot. I don't think that's exactly how it's supposed to be, but it's fine. There may even be a cover for this that comes at some point, that you basically cut this out, put a cover over it, a bit like what you do on the Coil Show mids. They had a cover and then you cut around it. So but I like it dead straight. The only other thing be, if this body is staying, that they might want to shave off a little bit of metal on each side to get it to match the contours of this body. But it might be this body doesn't stay, maybe it changes. This is so early prototypey sort of stuff that you got to take it with a pinch of salt. Things will change, and this buggy will not look like this in the next year. There'll be updates and changes and bodies and chassis and all kinds of bits and pieces, that's for sure. Right, what's next? Well, I've got to sand and clean the rear spoiler and then spray it up. What am I going to paint it with? Well, I was going to go with some pretty nutty colours. I was tempted, but I was a bit worried that I may ruin it by taking a risky colour. So going by the actual Mardave stickers they've got, there's a bit of kind of greyish around there. I decided to go with bright gunmetal PS63. Bit conservative for a racing buggy, but I'd like to show it in a nice light, and that's a nice colour. Whereas if I pick a bright colour and it doesn't work on this car, then that's not a good way to show you how it looks. Right, wish me luck, and next time you see it, it should be painted. I'm itching to get it out on the BGRAT track, so I'm desperately pushing on. The car is fully finished, I could run it like this, but I want to get some paint on it first. And there we go, it's all done, ready to hit the track. Now the body is very early and there's a lot of design changes that will be coming. I've been talking to Mardave about my experiences building this body, and there's a few things that will probably end up coming in soon. The body itself, now, it was originally designed to sit back on the chassis and cover the gears here, but then I found to get the front looking right, it was more suited to the chassis to be forward. Also the way that the body fits to the bottom of the chassis suits, it comes in here like the chassis, so it ended up sitting forward. So there's probably going to be a design change. I love this sort of aero, so keeping the aero and then having the aero go back further and then come up and over the gears, or something else with a cover, something like that will probably happen down the line. Also, one thing I found is that the body comes in, so the chassis sticks out as a plate. So if this is going to be an actual front that they're going to do, shaving off some of this metal that doesn't actually do anything, just to get the line bang on with the body. You're going down now to real polishing aspects. Well, this is a prototype pretty much. It's version 001, but it's right on the prototype line really. So a few things like that. The rear spoiler has an upright bit that's in the middle here. Really it needs to be flat, but they've already fixed that. That will be coming. So I've got a few parts coming. The front 3D printed part, there's a carbon bit to go over the top of that. So I've already got bits coming in, and there's still lots of development going on. Now, this is the bit you've all been waiting for. Let's take it out, stick it on the track, see what kind of time it gives us. And can it knock the Top Cat off of its 8.53? Exactly the same electronics, same motor, everything. Let's find out. And there you go. Yes, I put it round the BGRAT track, and as you can see, it wasn't the most optimal conditions first thing in the morning, but I'm happy to report to you the track dried over lunchtime with a little bit of wind, so I could actually run the car and get a proper time for you. First thing in the morning, way too wet, and it was all over the place, especially with this setup with these tyres. But I know these tyres work well in the dry because my Schumacher Cat K1 Aero used these tyres and set the fastest at 8.10. Now granted that's four-wheel drive, but I know these work well. So, with no further ado, the target we were setting from the beginning was the Schumacher Top Cat, which did it in 8.53. Now, did the Mardave Cobra beat that? Well, it did it in 8.40. So yes, it beat it by 0.13 of a second, which isn't much, but then the track's not that long either. So I can happily say to you, it is capable, compliant, and easy to drive. So let's talk about pros and cons. We'll go with the pros first. The pros are this. Love the carbon uprights, really good quality, work well. Love the shocks. They come pre-done for you and they are really good. And I think that's what played a big part in how easy it was to drive straight out the box. The drivetrain is all nice and smooth. Pickup is good. Happy with that. The dialability, the amount of things you can change with the cambers and everything, there's loads that you can do with this car. So that's the pluses. Now the negatives, the things that I hope we will see evolved and improved from sort of this prototype 001 as we move forward. Well, the biggest one is the one I'd love to see, which I'm sure we're going to get as an option, is the carbon chassis. I would love to see a carbon chassis in this car because I just feel that's where this car needs to go. It needs to go more modern, more technology, a little bit lighter, a bit more rigid. So I would happily add that, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get that next year, which is a fantastic one for Mardave to do. Some other things I'd like to see improved: the front bulkhead, that needs to go completely, and a new one, the 3D printed one, needs to go. There is a carbon top plate that comes with it, which I don't have because obviously it's an early one, even though they're sending it. I'll put a picture up here, you can see it, but personally that needs to go completely, and a nice proper part fitted. The only other thing was I'm not too keen on these upright pins. I think this kit is now trying to move up in its quality and move forward for Mardave, so it'd be nice to get those to be more standard like you expect on all other kits. Apart from that, the only other thing, the tyres, the fitment for the tyres on this kit, I would personally like to see it as a standard hex that you can just take a Kyosho or a Tamiya wheel and just fit it, or a Schumacher wheel and just fit it on straight away, front and rear. Because this morning when it was wet, I couldn't change the tyres over because they're obviously a different mounting setup. Here's hex on the rear, but then I tried to put a Tamiya hex on it, and it's a different the way that it screws on with the attachment. So from that point of view, obviously if you're a racer and you've got lots of different tyres that you've purchased, that's fine. But for me, when I just wanted to drive around the garden, I didn't have the opportunity to swap the tyres over without taking the tyres off the rim, and these are obviously glued on. From that point of view, apart from that, I'm really happy with it. It's really nice. It's got a good compliant personality. It's not all over the show. And personally, this one is now going to be cleaned and it will be put on the shelf, and that's where it will live. I'm going to place an order with my own money, and I'm going to buy another one that's going to be released in February, hopefully with a few of those little things dialed out. But I would love to have one that I drive regularly. It does kind of drive a bit like my Schumacher Aero. It does feel that way, quite planted, even though that's a four-wheel drive and this is two-wheel drive. So it takes the fastest spot on the board for a two-wheel drive buggy. Will it get beaten? Only time will tell. Now, I'd just like to say a massive thank you to Mardave for sending me such an early kit to show you guys and to test it out, because they don't have to do this. They could keep it in-house until it's finally released, but you know, putting stuff out before it's finished is showing everything warts and all. And I think that's a very brave move, and it's very forward thinking. And hopefully this buggy, as it evolves and becomes more advanced, will take Mardave in a new direction. So thanks very much, and a big shout out to them for that. Anyway, thanks very much. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Yeah, got a bit of cleaning to do. Bye-bye.